Hello everyone and welcome back to Unity of Command. This is the campaign scenario Rumyantsev from the Red Turn DLC. And welcome to the final campaign of the game. This Soviet campaign is peculiar in more ways than one. First of all, its scope is gigantic. It's the previous campaigns each covered half a year, roughly, so give or take. However, this one encompasses almost 2 years, so from starting at the beginning of August 1943, and it ends in the Berlin Offensive at the end of April 1945. Also, it has far more scenarios than, well, any previous campaigns. 17 in total altogether, which is more than the 2 campaigns of the base game combined, believe it or not. And yeah, it's quite an epic one. I actually think that at some point in time it was supposed to be 2 separate campaigns in the making before they were merged into this gigantic one. There is a huge difficulty drop in the middle of the campaign. So yeah, that makes me think that. But anyway, let's start with the first scenario in chronological order, as always. Rumyantsev. So August the 3rd, 1943. Following the cancellation of Citadella, the Soviets take the initiative and intend to push back both flanks of the Bulge in order to be able to advance towards the Dnieper. Right. At first glance, we as Soviets don't outnumber the Axis forces heavily, and in this case it's almost exclusively only Germans. And actually the Germans receive quite a lot of reinforcements, units, whereas we receive steps, a lot of steps actually. But in any case, we receive an air attack, and in any case, this is not a difficult scenario, as you might expect from the first one of any campaign, and it's very small as well. So let's take a quick look at it. So that is it, all of it. As you can see, that the area is pretty insignificant, or small rather. We only have 2 objectives. I'm not going to talk about the terrain because we have seen this area a million times. Once again, we need to capture Belgorod and Kharkov. These cities have changed hands quite a few times in our playthroughs of previous scenarios. This is going to be the final time we see these. So this is the final conquest of this area. Weather should normally be okay, but interestingly, in the first turn, I got unlucky with the storm. Basically, it didn't matter much, to be honest. That part of the map is quite insignificant. You probably will not encounter any weather effects at all. And yeah, let's take a look at the objectives. So there are 2 objectives to it. The first of all is the first is Belgorod. Recapture Belgorod for the final time to open the road to Kharkov, to be taken by the end of turn 3. Okay? And the second one is Kharkov itself. The first 3 battles for Kharkov all resulted in our defeat. Make sure the 4th is the final one and a decisive victory, to be taken by the end of turn 5. Before we take a look at our forces allocations, let's take a quick glance at the supply. Basically, the Axis forces cannot be cut off. There are quite a few road connections, supply lines entering the map, and everywhere they enter the map under their command, they have a supply source with a range of 8, so they're perfectly set. You can completely cut off and encircle smaller pockets of units if you wish, but overall this map is not about playing with supply. Our supply situation is also stable. Currently, actually, we have 2 units that are out of supply because of the storm, because the southern or eastern supply source that we have is off-road, and obviously it loses a lot of its power because of the bad weather effect. But we also have another one, the main one, which is on the road coming from Kursk, and it also has a range of 8. So basically, the map is so small that if you just capture half of the road, then everything should remain in supply. So you shouldn't be worried about your supply either. Just make sure that you're not completely cut off, which is not difficult to achieve. I mean, making sure. All right. Let's take a look at our forces. So in the southeast, we have some infantry divisions with a few specialist steps, but they are opposed by dug-in, entrenched German infantry divisions, and they are sitting behind the river. I actually don't think that this part of the front line serves any purpose whatsoever. In fact, I'm going to shuffle all the units to the north and then across the river, across the Donets to the west. You can give up practically everything. There's nothing here. Even if the AI captures your off-road supply source, it still doesn't mean anything at all. So all you need to capture are these two victory hexes, and to make sure that your northern road supply is intact. That's it. So this part of the map is totally inconsequential. And by the way, what you're seeing is the first attempt. As I've said, this is not a very difficult scenario. We have our main forces in the north, and this is clear ground, so there is no terrain whatsoever hindering us. So basically, we are facing the Germans, and we outnumber them heavily here, which is perfect to our advantage. We have a few motorized and mechanized and tank divisions here, most of them with specialist steps. I'll get back to that in a moment. We only have one veteran unit. This is your best unit in the battlefield. It has a Katyusha and 7 steps, and and it's veteran, so this is an excellent asset. Before we move on to the Germans, let me introduce you to our new toy, which we are going to see quite a lot of in this playthrough, which is the SU or Su-76M, which was nicknamed by the soldiers during the war as Suka, because it was quite unreliable and it tended to break down at the worst situations. It's basically a counterpart of the German Marder, so to speak. It's a 76 millimeter anti-tank gun mounted on a tank chassis. In this game, it's supposed to give you an edge against armored targets, but it's actually not that useful. So the armor shift is just +1. It's not that great, and the stats are pathetic. So I actually don't recommend you pay much attention to this one. It's not a game-changing tool by any means whatsoever. We also have a lot of infantry guns as usual, and we'll put them to good use. Bombardment is always excellent. As for the Germans, they have quite depleted forces, so almost all of their forces field 4 steps each, with a few exceptions. This includes their elite forces, so to speak. So they have 2 veteran Panzer divisions and the elite Großdeutschland Panzergrenadier division with a Tiger attachment, Tiger specialist step attached to it. This is of course the best unit on the battlefield altogether, and this is actually the only unit that the Germans have that you should really fear. And you will see this is a recurring theme in this campaign, is that the Soviet forces generally can stand up to the Axis forces in a one-on-one situation. By one-on-one, I mean unit per unit, not step by step, obviously. And they also field a few Stug 3s, to be perfectly exact. And as I've said, they're going to receive reinforcements, which caught me off guard a bit. But that's basically it. There's nothing scary apart from the Großdeutschland. And the strategy is pretty clear. You just have excuse me. You just have to remove this front line here, which shouldn't pose any threat, to be honest. And then push towards Belgorod, capture it. You can cut it off if you wish. There's going to be quite a bit of tug of war here around Kharkov, north of Kharkov, with the German reinforcements pouring in. But just keep grinding enemy units down until, well, they run out. They will run out sooner than you will. So let's see how it went. Right. As usual, start with the artillery barrage. If you are just a tiny bit lucky, then the enemy units will be unentrenched or breached. because as you know, the infantry gun actually gives you a better chance for that. And yeah, so one of their specialist steps has already been removed. Unfortunately, for some reason I don't destroy this unit this turn, but at least it's been severely weakened. Now let's push. The unit on the supply road itself tried to resisted successfully the artillery assault, but it got removed anyway. As you can see, these units are totally worthless, so against your mechanized or motorized units, they are absolutely nothing, basically. And yeah, I sent the best unit that we possess to already assault Belgorod on turn 1, and it was quite pathetic, to be honest, quite disappointing, but whatever, we still have a lot of time. And with the Su-76M special steps, I dare attack the German panzer divisions, and this goes pretty well, to be honest. And if this unit had not retreated, then I actually would have moved this unit across the river to finish it off with just one suppressed step, but that was not meant to be. Right? We're mopping up. And yeah, we can just accumulate kills and remove, you know, these straggler units so that they are not they are no threat, or that they don't put a wrench in our plans. So you can remove these units practically without any threat, especially with your armored units, so they cannot put up a fight against them. And here in the southeast that I mentioned, I'm going to abandon our position and simply just move northwards. Hopefully it will work out. Yep. And just preparing for the next turn. We're going to hold the front line. It's not that important, but you know, you have to make sure that you're not cut off from the supply source, so maintain some kind of weak front line. That's going to be sufficient. And as I've said, the Germans are receiving reinforcements, so these three units are pretty okay-ish. They each have 4 steps. They're all panzer divisions. They all have 4 steps each, and they're all veteran. This one has a Nashorn attachment, which means that it's far stronger against your armored units, so watch out for this one and don't underestimate that unit. Yeah, so for some reason the AI removes this unit but doesn't capitalize on this, I hesitate to call it a success, on this action, whatever. And it also advances and captures this part of the road. I have no idea why it did that. I mean, nothing was achieved by this. And yeah, the AI's assault are quite powerful, unfortunately. Yeah, the Nashorn is pretty strong. But when it's our turn again, we'll be able to, you know, to cause them grievous casualties that they cannot afford. We can afford some casualties at least. Alright, actually they heroically managed to rescue this German unit, kind of. They got it back into a connection with the other units, but of course we are going to remove it off the map immediately. So we already received our steps, our new steps, so I'm going to immediately spend them. And we continue with the assault of Belgorod, which was once again not very successful, 1 KIA. I'm really unhappy about how this is going, but at least elsewhere things are okay. And I use the air attack on the strongest unit that the AI has, this one with the Nashorn. Either this or the Tiger one, and that one whiffed. But at the very least, the Stug specialist step could be removed, the second out of 2. So anything is a small win, I would say. And now I decide to let's try to capture Belgorod this turn already while advancing. Interestingly, it's not sorry, it is in our way. So anyway, it's blocking our supply, not that it matters much, but you know, it's our objective. Next turn we have to capture it anyway. We cannot wait until they run out of supply, so it doesn't matter. I even attack across the river. We don't really care much about casualties. This has to be captured, so whatever. And we succeed. I was hoping this tank would be destroyed, but it wasn't, so that's kind of a bummer. Yep. And we're just picking them off wherever we think it's a good idea, you know, wherever we can make favorable trades. And this one wasn't, but I was like, I wanted to remove this Panzer division from, from this bulge position. I was afraid that it would rush ahead and capture or cut us off or whatever. I don't want to do that, and I decided to sacrifice this unit. I know it's gonna fall, but at least it removed the Panzer division, even though it had only one step. I think it's a fair trade for 3 infantry steps. And as you see, we've received quite a few infantry steps as well, so that's great. And now on turn 2 for the Axis, they're going to receive even more reinforcements, and this time it's our old friends, the SS Panzergrenadier divisions once again. The second one, the Reich, and the third one, Totenkopf. And yeah, this time they only have 4 steps each, and they're only veteran, which is excellent. So they're actually far weaker than you think. They're not that scary at all, so they're definitely not unbeatable. All right, the AI is bunching up in around the Victory Axe, and one thing I really like about the AI is that I think it understood that we are driving an assault towards Kharkov, which is not true. I mean, I don't want to circumvent all these forces, we rather destroy them. But the AI takes these feint attacks very seriously, which is something you can abuse. Not necessarily here, but in later scenarios, or in other scenarios rather. Alright. This does not go well for our poor unit. But once again, the losses that they cause to us are nothing compared to what we are going to do in our turn. As you can see, we can actually bully the Panzer Grenadiers, the SS Panzer Grenadiers, which is something new, I guess. So, and I'm aiming for the strongest unit. Basically, my not too complicated strategy was that I would destroy any strong resistance, and we still have 3 turns, including this one, to capture Kharkov. And I was thinking that if they don't receive significant reinforcements, then in the next turn, hopefully we can just wash them off the map. There is one important exception to this rule, though, and not this one, but the Großdeutschland Panzer Division. This is too strong, definitely to assault head-on with anything. So we are going to actually make sure that it doesn't receive any supply, and then we'll starve it out. And these units are stuck in the north. The reason I pulled them back is to make sure that they cover the supply route when they were weakened, but now it's time to remove them. I moved that one to the supply X just in case anything happens, anything unforeseen happens. It's not like we need that one unit in the south so badly. So, yep. We managed to encircle these 2 units completely, and yeah, this means that on turn 3 the AI is already in a very, very bad shape. We're standing next to the Victory Axe. We have 2 further turns, complete turns, to capture it, and this unit is not dug in. And basically these are the only 3 units that the AI can count on with to any effect. And yeah, the Tiger tanks are excellent, as you can see, and these other units are not bad either. So this causes us some grief, but whatever. We can take this damage, we can just tank it, and then on our turn 4 the situation looks great. I'm thinking, if we can keep these units cut off, and we will definitely, there is no way for them to reconnect now, then they won't be able to attack anymore. So we just have to wait, sit tight, and then the Großdeutschland will be out of commission. So the only, so to speak, considerable forces are in the south, not that they are very dangerous. So while I'm thinking, let's remove this unit so we can move better, and that unit as well, so that it doesn't flank us. Not that that's scary, but again, whatever. Now, I bombed this unit because the other one had a -2, 2 points malus to its air attack because of the city defense. And I used this infantry unit because it had an Su-76, which was decent, and we actually managed to destroy one of the 2 panzer divisions with only the air assault and with the help of 3 infantry divisions, without ever using any of our mechanized units. Now let's assault the city. This goes relatively poorly, but we don't care. We have all day actually, and yep. And at this moment, this unit is forfeit, so we destroy it. and we have won. We have a ton of units that can move in, including this one, even this one, the infantry. So we have won. And for a moment I was thinking that I could just, you know, mop up the battlefield, which I could. These 3 tank divisions, or tank, and this one mechanized division, have not attacked at all, and some of the infantry units are free to act as well. This unit won't attack the next turn either with this one. So basically the only opposition we have are these 5 infantry divisions, and I was positive we could remove at least 2 of them, at the very least at least 2 of them. So I could play around with it a bit, but I decided not to drag this on. So let's just destroy that infantry unit, since it was kind of next to us, you know, it's in a bad position for it, and we move in and win. We still had a whole other turn to win. This unit could still attack, this unit could still attack, this unit could still attack, and yeah, as long as we keep this one cut off from supply, we would be fine, which wouldn't be difficult at all whatsoever to achieve. So there is no way that these pathetic infantry divisions could mount, well, counter strike or anything like that. So this is it. This is a very easy and short and small scenario, as I've said, but this showcases some of the things that are to come. Most importantly, the idea that we as the Soviets can step up against the Axis forces, and not only, you know, the auxiliary or weaker forces or whatever, but head-on assault them, which is going to be more and more the case as the campaign progresses, actually. And yeah, things are going to get more tough, that's for sure, but it's a good introduction to the campaign, I believe. And yeah, and I enjoyed you know, beginning of the final campaign of this game. So I thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll join me for the other videos as well. Bye bye.